His goddess performed terribly on the exam because she didn't get the answers. After finishing the last subject, she jumped from the rooftop. From then on, I became the murderer in Zhou Zhuan's heart. He meticulously planned and disrupted my life. In the midst of betrayal and isolation, I opened my eyes. I was back to the days just before the college entrance exam. 1. Zhou Zhuan blocked my way home. We hadn't walked to and from school together in a long time because he has something particularly important to deal with recently. I know what it is. The goddess he's been obsessing over is currently conspiring with him to cheat on the college entrance exam. If I remember correctly, in the previous life, he would have looked at me with eager anticipation just a few minutes later. Let me join him in completing this college entrance exam cheating that could very well ruin our future. In my previous life, I resolutely refused him, and tonight, we even had a fierce argument. After the argument, I was afraid that Zhou Zhuan might actually do something foolish and end up ruining his reputation. He told his parents about this matter just because I stopped him on the college entrance exam for his goddess. He hated me for a lifetime and portrayed me as a woman of poor character and malice. In the cage he wove, I ended up being abandoned by everyone, so this time, I didn't give him the chance to explain his plan, whether he cheats or not, whether he gets caught and disqualified from the exam. None of that has anything to do with me. I used to kindly remind him because his parents were my godparents. But now I just want to stay as far away as possible from this foolish person. 2. Hey, Chengzhe, hurry up and follow me. Zhou Zhuan's call brought my thoughts back to the present situation. Yes, he just said he wanted me to go with him to meet someone. I steadied my bicycle firmly in place and let out a subtle exclamation. Oh no, Zhou Zhuan. I just remembered I left my house keys in the classroom. You go ahead with your business. I need to go look for them. Zhou Zhuan looked both disappointed and anxious. Didn't I just see you put the keys in your backpack? Check again. Maybe you missed them. I pretended to rummage through my backpack a couple more times and said helplessly to him, They're really not here. Never mind. I'll go back and get them. Don't wait for me. Zhou Xian had already made plans to meet his goddess Lin Xin Ru at their usual spot, and he wouldn't stand her up for me. So, without much hesitation, he waved at me and quickly disappeared into the afterglow. Although the senior year 3 curriculum has been intense lately, there are only about 10 days left until the college entrance exam. The teacher said we've pretty much covered everything we need to learn, and cramming now won't help much. It's better to stay calm and face the exam with peace of mind. So, day students were also allowed to apply not to attend evening study sessions, and Zhou Xian and I were among those day students. When I got home, I carefully calculated the time when Zhou Xian might get close to me as neighbors, even if I tried hard to avoid Zhou Xian at school. Once classes ended, my parents would let him in as soon as he rang the doorbell. He would always have the chance to tell me to join him in cheating on the exam. So, that night, I sincerely discussed with my parents about living on campus. In my parents' eyes, I have always been a source of pride. Although our family is not wealthy, they have given me enough love and material support. This also kept my grades consistently at the top of my grade level. But later, due to Zhou Xian's malicious intentions in college, I became the rebellious child in my parents' eyes. I went from being an outstanding student representative to a jealous, malicious thief in an instant. And Zhou Xian even put on a show, shielding me in his arms and apologizing to them on my behalf. I struggled in his embrace, helplessly, trying to explain that the missing class funds found in my bag must have been planted by someone to frame me. But Zhou Xian used his strong arms to tightly cover my mouth, all the while repeating the same sentence over and over. Xingzi knows she was wrong. Please forgive her. I was stripped of all my eligibility for school honors and awards. I became the thief on campus that everyone avoided. After everyone had left, Zhou Zhuan held me tightly in his arms, my emotions running high. From an outsider's perspective, his hand kept gently stroking my back, his expression tender. Everyone praised me for my good luck. saying that even if I had a bad character, Jo Zwan would still clean up my mess. But at that moment, I was so overwhelmed that I had used up all my strength. And as I leaned weakly against Jo Zwin, I only felt a bone-chilling cold all over my body. Jo Zwan's voice was soft and gentle as he said, "Zhengzhe, they may have forgiven you, but Shinro and I will not. From the experiences of my past life, I've drawn a conclusion. Jo Zwan is just a lunatic. I can already imagine that even if I agreed to cheat with them, they would still pin the blame on me if we got caught. Since I can't afford to provoke them, I might as well avoid them. Fortunately, my reason was quite reasonable. As soon as my parents heard that I was more motivated to study at school, they agreed to my request to live on campus without hesitation. 3. The next day, I rode my bike to the classroom early in the morning in order not to run into Joswin. I left home an hour earlier than usual. By the time morning reading had already started, I could already feel the resentful gaze from behind me. As soon as the morning reading bell rang, I immediately rushed to the restroom. After that, every time I saw Joe's Wuen's eager expression, I would grab my textbook and either run to the podium or head to the office. Being the top student in grade and studying diligently is nothing out of the ordinary. This way, Joe Zwan wouldn't think I was deliberately avoiding him, nor would he get a chance to strike up a conversation with me. It just made things tough for my classmates, who had already planned to give up. Seeing me like this, they all groaned. "Zhengzhe, stop competing so hard. You're already the top student in grade. No one can beat you anyway." I shook my head and smiled bitterly in my heart. Your worries and mine don't seem to be the same. Still, no matter what, everything I did had some effect. After evening self-study, the girls in my dorm would enthusiastically link arms with me, asking me to help them review the knowledge they hadn't fully grasped yet. Everyone was striving hard to get into a good university, except for Zhou Xian, maybe seeing that I was really too busy to spare any time. Even if I agreed to cheat with them, there wouldn't be time to discuss the plan. So, he stopped wasting time on me. He also started focusing on studying and memorizing, because just like he said in the previous life, if I didn't do it, he would still deliver the answers to Lin Xinrua by himself. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to it. Sometimes I lean on the corridor railing of the teaching building and look down, where fragmented light and shadow dapple the figures of that duo. Their shadows sometimes appear inseparable, and at other times feel extremely distant. I feel a bit dazed, but fortunately, everything was proceeding in an orderly manner, and I didn't pay much attention to Zhou Xian anymore, because a grand and passionate journey had finally begun, and as a participant in this battle, I unexpectedly felt that surge of passion once again. When entering the examination room, I keenly noticed that Lin Xinrua, who was in the same room as me, looked somewhat nervous, but now I am a complete stranger to her. So, after setting everything aside, I calmly and confidently stepped into the examination hall before taking a seat. There was an additional metal detection test in the classroom to prevent anyone from carrying cheating tools. After I passed, I glanced at her unintentionally. Suddenly, the metal detector beeped, for the metal detector only beeped once. And Lin Xinrua immediately looked at the invigilator in terror, trembling as she said, "I didn't bring anything except my pen. Did you check your pockets and bag thoroughly? Is there anything metallic you forgot to take out? Let me check. Yes, there's a coin." I sat in my seat as if watching a show, observing the two proctors looking at each other in confusion. After a moment, the other female teacher calmly spoke up. "It's fine. Just put the coin in the student storage bag outside. Then come back and scan again." Lin Xinro visibly let out a sigh of relief. She moved slowly and somewhat stiffly as she let the metal detector scan her entire body once more. This time, the device didn't beep. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. After all, the college entrance exam is a major event in life, and neither teachers nor students wanted too many unexpected incidents. I raised an eyebrow, silently curving the corner of my mouth. I slipped that coin in when she wasn't paying attention. I had known their cheating method all along. Scaring Lin Shinro a bit is also a way to vent some of the resentment from my past life. In my previous life, it was because Lin Shinro played the victim in front of Zhou Zuan, and before jumping off the building, she deliberately told Zhou Zuan that I was the one who harmed her. She even falsely accused me of liking Zhou Zuan, saying that I was jealous because Zhou Zuan liked her, which was why I refused to pass her the answers. I never expected Zhou Zuan to believe this wholeheartedly. Zhou Zuan could take tormenting me as a form of revenge, and Lin Shinro deserves half the credit for that. I won't forget how Lin Shinro looked like a weeping willow when I rejected both of their proposals. She said how her parents were such scoundrels, and that if she failed to get into a good university, they would betroth her to an old man even older than her father. In my previous life, I listened to her lament with a frown, kindly suggesting that she could work part-time after entering university, and that it wasn't impossible for her to perform exceptionally well and get into a good university. I say it's the 21st century. Even parents don't have the right to decide her marriage. So carelessly, she can completely rely on her own efforts to break free from her parents' control. Who would have thought that upon hearing my words, Zhou Zuan's expression changed drastically, and he angrily scolded me, saying I lacked empathy, and even called me a villain who kicks someone when they're down. My opinion on this is, let go of the urge to help others. It's beneficial for both mental and physical health. Memories from a past life abruptly ended because that urgent and loud bell rang throughout the entire campus. The first exam officially began. 5. The first exam was Chinese language. Just as everyone was diligently writing, Lin Xianruo raised her hand. I glanced at my nearly finished test paper, leisurely appreciating Lin Xianruo's clumsy performance. She was clutching her stomach with one hand while raising the other high. Teacher, my stomach hurts. I need to go to the restroom. The invigilator's sharp gaze lingered for a moment on her slightly anxious face. Go ahead. There are 2 teachers in the examination hall, one male and one female. Afterwards, accompanied by the female teacher, the 2 of them walked out of the classroom together. I kept a straight face on the outside, but inside I was sneering. Others might not know their plan, but I heard it loud and clear. All students were uniformly arranged to stay in hotels pre-booked before the college entrance examination to avoid the situation of examinees being late. That's exactly why I accidentally overheard their plan. Speaking of which, Zhou Xian really didn't guard against me when he brought me the talisman for academic success that his godparents had obtained from the temple. He happened to receive a phone call from Lin Xianruo, pretending I knew nothing. I said I was going to the restroom, and he then started talking freely in my room without any concern, and I conveniently timed my exit from the bathroom perfectly. In my previous life, because of my reminder, Zhou Xian had no time to prepare cheating tools or carefully discuss the details of cheating under his parents' supervision. But this time, he was quite well prepared. A subtle, hard-to-detect miniature communication device. This must have drained all of Zhou Xian's secret stash. They had agreed to pass answers by coughing, and now Lin Xianruo had to retrieve the communicator she had previously hidden in the women's restroom within the limited time. She had specially reserved a hole in the sole of her shoe to hold the communicator. In their view, the plan was flawless. Once inside the examination hall, she could casually take the item out by pretending to tie her shoelaces while bowing her head, and her long shawl-length hair would effectively block everyone's line of sight. But I waited and waited, yet never saw her appear in the examination hall again. Time flew by. If I'm not mistaken, cheating behavior has been detected in this exam. All examinees are requested to regulate their conduct. Also, please note that there are 10 minutes remaining until the exam ends. All examinees should hurry up and complete their answers. A smile tugged at the corner of my lips, and my gaze involuntarily fell upon the empty desk again. Zhou Xian, I never thought your goddess would be caught before even finishing the first subject. Thinking back to my previous life, without your help, she managed to endure until the very last subject before jumping off the building. But now, she's been caught in the first subject. How will you two deal with this? Yet, I still underestimated the evil in human nature. Immediately after the exam, I was detained by the invigilator. 6. When I was brought into the office by several stern-looking invigilators, as expected, I saw Lin Xin Ru standing among a group of teachers. Her face was pale, and her frail body was trembling uncontrollably. It seemed she also knew the consequences of being caught cheating on the college entrance exam were very serious. Although I felt disdain in my heart, I was still puzzled as to why they had summoned me. Lin Xin Ru's eyes flashed with a hint of vengeful satisfaction the moment she saw me. A vague sense of unease stirred within me, but before I could think it through, Lin Xin Ru looked at me with a pitiful gaze and said, "Xingzi, I'm sorry, we've been caught." Me, if I still couldn't figure out what was going on now, I would truly be an idiot. I wondered why I hadn't seen Zhou Xian's figure. It turns out he was trying to drag me into this whirlpool. I looked at her, somewhat puzzled. "What are you talking about? Classmate, I don't even know you." My tone was calm and confused, clearly showing that I really didn't recognize her. Lin Xin Rua must have anticipated my reaction and immediately choked up, saying, "Zhengji, don't pretend. We got caught cheating this time. You can't let me bear all the consequences alone. It's a waste of Lin Xin Rua's great acting skills not to become an actress. I mercilessly exposed her. Stop pretending to be pitiful. You squeeze out a single tear. So, what's the use of just wailing?" I couldn't be bothered to waste words on her, either. Shifting my gaze to the invigilators standing nearby. There were now 6 or 7 teachers in the office, all on high alert, hoping I would give a reasonable explanation. I swept my eyes over the teachers and then said clearly, "Teachers, although I don't know why this classmate is trying to frame me, I'd like to ask her, what evidence do you have to prove that I'm your accomplice?" Lin Xin Rua was clearly unprepared, stammering without being able to produce any convincing evidence besides knowing my name. "Classmate, I'm the top student in our grade. Countless people know my name. Do you really think this lame excuse is enough to frame me?" My calm demeanor contrasted sharply with Lin Xin Rua's flustered anxiety, and in order to quickly end this farce, I presented my recent whereabouts along with evidence proving that I had indeed never had any contact with Lin Xin Ru. From the time I lived on campus until the college entrance exam, I was always with my classmates, and this can be attested to by the classmates who were inseparable from me during our evening tutoring sessions. At this moment, I couldn't help but feel relieved that I hadn't gone with Zhou Xian to meet Lin Xin Ru. Otherwise, with just a single rumor, I might have run myself ragged trying to clear things up. Lin Xin Rua was still shouting, and we all kept in touch by phone. Just hearing her say that, I couldn't help but laugh. I gave her a bright smile and said, "Classmate, since you claim we were in contact by phone, what was the phone number you called? I think it's quite necessary for you to show your evidence to the proctor. Otherwise, you might want to find out how many years in prison you could get for defamation." As soon as I finished asking, Lin Xinru confidently recited a string of numbers. In my previous life, Zhou Xian had indeed given my number to Lin Xinru, but I had deactivated that number half a month ago. Clearly, neither Zhou Xian nor Lin Xinru had noticed this. I challenged Lin Xinru to go ahead and dial the number she had just mentioned. She indeed did as told. Then we heard the message from the receiver saying the number was invalid. I chuckled softly. "Classmate, do you have anything else to explain?" As soon as I said this, Lin Xinru's face turned a bit paler. "This number was given to me by Zhou Xian. It can't be wrong," she murmured in a daze. I curled the corner of my mouth. "It's fine, classmate. Just say the same thing when you look for a lawyer." It seemed she suddenly realized that her casual fabrication could also become grounds for me to sue her. She stood there trembling, her eyes darting around as she tried to come up with a new lie. But the exam proctors weren't fools. Seeing her guilty expression, I immediately shouted at her, "Classmate Lin Xinru, we're asking you one last time. Just who exactly was cheating with you?" Yes, it was only me. I was the only one cheating. I was somewhat surprised that Lin Shinru didn't name Zhou Xian at such a moment. I didn't want to sue her. After all, at this critical juncture, I really didn't want to get entangled with the two of them. The invigilator knew I really had nothing to do with this incident. After quietly comforting me, he told me not to let this episode affect me and wished me all the best for the rest of the exam. When I walked out of the examination room, I ran into Zhou Xian, who was anxiously looking around at the entrance. Because handling this matter had taken up a lot of time, there were only a few people scattered at the entrance by then, and I couldn't possibly pretend I didn't see him. He hurriedly called out to me, "Sheng Shi, is Shinro okay?" 7. Although I had the urge to beat Zhou Xian, that idiot, to death right now, but I still held back. I stared at him coldly and took 2 steps back to create some distance. "Who is Shinro?" Zhou Xian was taken aback, guessing I might have forgotten, and quickly explained, "The girl I told you about before, the one who's really beautiful and kind-hearted. She's my goddess. Don't you remember? I've mentioned her to you before. Her name is Lin Shinro." I lowered my head, pretending to think for 2 seconds. "Yeah, I don't remember. But why are you asking me about your goddess? Why don't you just go find her yourself?" "I just can't go to her right now. She was detained by the proctor for cheating. I thought, since you were in the same exam hall, I'd ask about her situation." My expression turned serious, and I suddenly widened my eyes. "You're not talking about that girl who just framed me, are you?" Seeing that Zhou Xian was still out of the loop, I quickly gave him a disgusted once-over. "Zhou Xian, let me tell you, your so-called goddess is a liar. She got caught cheating and then accused me of being her accomplice. The teacher is pressing her to reveal who her accomplice really is, so she probably won't be out anytime soon." Zhou Xian's uneasy expression didn't escape my notice, but when he heard that Lin Shinro refused to give up her accomplice, no matter what, a flicker of gratitude and guilt flashed in his eyes. As I passed by him, I even heard him muttering to himself, "Shinro really is a kind girl. Humph. Kindness." Zhou Xian didn't take my earlier statement about her framing me seriously at all, and casually leaked my information. Zhou Xian isn't a good guy either. In the end, he only cares whether Lin Shinro implicated him, as long as it doesn't concern him. Lin Shinro is a good girl, but my intuition tells me things aren't that simple. Sure enough, after finishing the math exam in the afternoon, Zhou Xian was picked up by his parents, who said there was an urgent matter, and he would go to the exam hall on his own tomorrow morning 8:00, because Lin Xan Rao was caught cheating in the first exam. The Education Bureau revoked her qualification for the remaining exams. She will not be allowed to take the college entrance exam for the next 3 years, and she will also be recorded in the dishonesty handbook. There's just one thing I can't figure out. In her previous life, she attempted suicide by jumping off a building just because she didn't do well on the exam. But in this life, even after being caught cheating, she hasn't been seen doing anything outrageous. In my memory, Lin Xan Rao is an extremely extreme person who is also skilled at disguising herself. She would never let this matter rest. However, the most important thing right now is to focus on finishing the remaining exams seriously. When I put down the final stroke on the exam paper, my nose suddenly felt a bit sore. Now, I am still that spirited and promising Jingzhe, full of infinite possibilities. I am not a pariah wants to shun, nor am I a bad student burdened with scandalous rumors. The moment I stepped out of the examination hall, the dazzling sunlight outside shone upon everyone's youthful and radiant smiles. I couldn't help but lift the corners of my mouth. Only when I got home did I notice that someone had splashed red paint on the wall. In front of Zhou Zuan's house, at some unknown time, there were also glaringly obvious big curse words written on it. I was slightly surprised. My mother, seeing me on the windowsill, staring at the wall with a look of surprise and confusion, quickly urged me, "Zay, hurry upstairs. What are you looking at?" Seeing my mother's weary expression, I turned and went upstairs as soon as I put my things down. Before my mother could even ask how my exams went, she began to warn me, "Zay, from now on, you should keep your distance from Zhou Zuan. That kid has been getting into trouble outside, and now people are coming after him, and he can't shake them off. Your godparents are so angry they've been hospitalized. It's really a tragedy." I was stunned for a moment, still trying to figure out what was going on when my mother continued. "Oh, and if you go to the hospital to visit your godparents in a couple of days, remember not to bring up the college entrance exams." Zhou Xian missed the last 2 days of exams because he had to deal with the mess he created. He's planning to retake the exams next year, so be careful not to upset them. If I could set off firecrackers right now, I'd want everyone within miles to feel my exhilaration. Through my conversation with my mom, I roughly pieced together the whole story. No wonder Lin Shenruo was so calm this time. She had already found a way out. It turns out that on the first night after the exam ended, Lin Shenruo's shameless parents went to Zhou Xian's house, insisting that their daughter was caught cheating because Zhou Xian had encouraged her. They threatened that if they weren't given enough hush money, they would have Lin Shenruo reported to the Education Bureau. One moment, Zhou Xian was praising Lin Shenruo for her kindness, and the next he was stabbed in the back by her. Who would have thought that after Zhou Xian was taken home by his parents, he would still foolishly speak up for Lin Shenruo? He dared them to sue, confidently declaring in his words that Lin Shenruo would never betray him. Under Lin Shenruo's brainwashing, Zhou Xian always believed that she was being coerced. Not only did Lin Shenruo pretend to be fiercely defending Zhou Xian's reputation in front of him, but she also accidentally revealed during an argument with her parents that she was already Zhou Xian's person. In an instant, Lin Shenruo's parents escalated the argument to the issue of statutory rape involving a minor. Wow. As soon as those words were spoken, Zhou Xian's parents ended up in the hospital. In short, my mom summed up the situation at Zhou Xian's house with one sentence. Zhou Xian is barely 18 and already has a wife. My mom's words were full of disdain and sarcasm. I laughed. She is my biological mother. 9. The talisman that Dad and Mom asked for before the exam is still in my pocket. Emotionally and logically, I should go visit them. I had just walked outside the ward when I heard the commotion. Inside, the Zhao family will never acknowledge Lin Shenruo as our daughter-in-law, and you're asking for 500,000 in bride price. Why don't you just go rob a bank? I listened carefully. Wasn't that Zhao's mother's voice? 500,000 in bride price. An ordinary family would have to save for decades to afford that. Let me tell you, our family is already asking for less with 500,000. If it weren't for my daughter taking the blame for the college entrance exam cheating incident alone. Do you think your son would have a chance to retake the exam? And we haven't even settled the score with you about your son sleeping with my daughter yet. Don't act all high and mighty after taking advantage. 500,000 to keep your son out of jail is already giving you face to some extent. I think Lin Shenruo's parents actually have a bit of logic in their thinking. However, I could see that this argument wasn't going to end anytime soon. To avoid getting caught in the crossfire, I picked up the fruit and prepared to make a quick exit. It wouldn't hurt to come back another day. I casually waited for the elevator on this floor. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out to me. "Jingzi, are you here to see my parents?" I turned to look at the person, and Zhao Xian had become noticeably haggard in just 2 days. His stubble was unshaven, and the bloodshot veins in his eyes were alarmingly prominent. He looked as if he had been drained of all vitality, not particularly eager to see him. I found an excuse to slip away. Oh, I did want to visit them, but I couldn't find the ward. Now I have something urgent to attend to, so I'll come back another day. Seeing the elevator finally arrive, I didn't hesitate and prepared to step inside, but Zhao Xian was quick to block my way. His hesitant expression made me frown slightly. I asked him somewhat irritably, "Zhao Xian, is there anything else?" Zhao Xian coughed awkwardly and pulled me into the hospital stairwell without my permission. He seemed to find it difficult to speak, but he still opened his mouth. Can you lend me some money? I squinted at this once proud and favored son of heaven. Without the path of the college entrance exam, he had become so timid and fearful. Indeed, he deserved his current fate. I wasn't particularly interested in hearing his story, so I refused directly. I don't have any money. I have to go. Perhaps I came across as too heartless, as a hint of anger and resentment appeared on Zhao Xian's face. Shangzi, after all these years of knowing each other, can't you even ask what I need the money for? I looked at him with some disgust. I don't have any money anyway, so why bother asking? Zhao Xian's weary eyes bore down on me like a dark cloud. Seeing that I truly didn't care, he gritted his teeth and said, Shinro is pregnant. I need to borrow money to pay for her abortion. I gave a perfunctory "oh," and then kindly offered him advice. Why don't you ask your parents for it? Shangzi, are you really that naive or just pretending? My parents were so angry about me and Shinro that they ended up in the hospital. How could I possibly have the nerve to ask them for money? I laughed. If you don't have the nerve to ask your parents, then how do you have the nerve to ask me? You almost ruined my chance to finish the college entrance exam, and you think I'd lend you money. Don't even say I don't have any. Even if I did, I wouldn't lend it to you. I finished speaking word by word, and before Zhao Xian could react, I was ready to leave, but he stopped me again, and at that moment, he finally dropped his hypocritical mask. He began to angrily accuse me. Shangzi, you only know that Shinro framed you, but if it weren't for you, she would never have been caught or disqualified from the exam. 10. This is a new one. Zhao Xian, from what you're saying, it sounds like I'm the one who harmed Lin Shinro. If he can't give a proper explanation, he'll have to face my anger next. Zhao Xian snorted coldly and spoke as if it were obvious. Actually, when Shinruo first wanted to achieve good grades, the first person we thought of was you. After all, we've been good friends for many years, and I trust you. You're also the top student in our grade. Passing her an answer would be a piece of cake. Right. I was originally planning to discuss this with you, but at that time, you were so obsessed with studying that I never got the chance to bring it up. That's why I had to pass her the answers from another exam room. Tell me, if you had just spared a little time back then to care about me and ask about my studies, and if the three of us had planned it out properly, wouldn't Shenruo have been caught? Speaking of which, you have to blame yourself for this matter. You are too selfish. Aloud, crisp applause echoed in the silent stairwell. Zhao Xian really nailed that fart. So good that I couldn't help but smile and applaud for him. I even distanced myself from him. Yet, he still tried to pin this unwarranted accusation on me. Suddenly, I remembered that in my previous life, he had accused me in exactly the same way in front of my parents. He stood there with righteous indignation and said, it was Zhang Zhe who encouraged Shenruo to jump from the building right before the exam. She lives comfortably and assumes everyone else is as comfortable as her. Not only does she kick people when they're down, especially classmates from troubled families, but she also flaunts her excellent grades to others, crushing their self-confidence. Zhang Zhe is a selfish person to the core. Because of his words, my parents were extremely disappointed in me, believing that although I had good grades, my character was flawed. They scolded me harshly and locked me in my room to reflect. Now, he's resorting to his old tricks again, blaming everyone else for his mistakes, convinced that he himself is always righteous and kind, while anyone who doesn't help him must just be jealous and evil-hearted since the matter has come to this. I might as well cut ties with him. If he doesn't care about his dignity, then I won't give him any respect either. In my previous life, he was two-faced and deceitful. In this life, I'll repay him in kind. I made no effort to suppress my voice. After all, the stairwell wasn't the stage where I intended to perform for someone as sanctimonious as Joswin. Going crazy is the most direct approach. Without the slightest hesitation, I rushed out of the stairwell and strode toward Joe's parents' ward before Joswin could react. When I arrived at the ward, Lin Shinro and his parents hadn't left yet. I didn't care about anything else and said loudly, Godparents, you heard what was said in the stairwell just now. Since Joswin is slandering me, I won't spare him any more face either. I don't care if Zhou Zuan himself is so despicable as to help Lin Shin-ro cheat. But how dare he expect me to do such a disgraceful thing? 2. Not to mention that even if I had no prior knowledge, he'd still pin a selfish hat on me. If I had known and still refused him, I bet he'd hate me for the rest of his life. Who knows, maybe someday, if anything happens to Lin Shinro, he'll blame me for causing it all. I can't possibly carry such a huge burden. He keeps claiming I'm his friend. Is this how he treats his friends? Dragging a friend into the abyss to help him pick up girls. Doesn't he fear ruining my future? 2. Today, I'm putting it straight here. Zhou, giving money to Lin Shinro for an abortion is your Zhou family's affair. Don't drag me into it with all that high-sounding talk. And as for his and Lin Shinro's attempted cheating, I can pretend I don't know. Whether you choose to spend money to settle it or end up with your reputation ruined without spending a dime, none of that has anything to do with me. Zhou Zuyan had already rushed to the ward, his face pale with shock. 11. I continued to direct my accusations at Zhou Zuan. Let me tell you, Zhou Zuan, you're the one who wants to have your cake and eat it. 2. You slept with Lin Shinro and then thought of helping her cheat. Now that she's been caught cheating, you're trying to wash your hands of it. You've taken all the benefits, yet you have the nerve to blame me for her getting caught. Yes, throughout this whole ordeal, you're the one who's acting all high and mighty, the purest and most selfless of all. I'm warning you, if you dare come looking for me again, I'll make sure everyone knows what you said in the stairwell. Let's see how you plan to repeat the year then. After shouting all of that, I let out a deep sigh of relief. I glanced at Zhou's parents, who were sitting on the hospital bed, completely stunned by what they had just heard, although I felt some sympathy and guilt toward them in my heart. But I knew that if I didn't settle things today, Zhou Zuan would definitely find another excuse to smear me. The resentment accumulated from my past life was finally fully vented in this one. Zhou Zuan's face turned livid, and he actually tried to step forward and lay hands on me. But Lin Shanrua's parents didn't give him a chance. They stepped forward and grabbed Zhou Zuan's hair fiercely, their tone sinister and terrifying. My daughter is carrying your Zhou family's child, and you actually want to have an abortion. You Zhou family are truly inhuman. The scene quickly descended into chaos. Zhou's father and mother wept uncontrollably, lamenting that they had given birth to a beast of a son. Lin Shenrua's parents harshly grabbed Zhou Zuan, demanding he hand over the bride price money. Zhou Zuan frantically darted around the entire ward. Only Lin Shenrua, her expression remained calm and composed. She stood aside calmly, as if watching a farce, as though all of this had nothing to do with her. Suddenly, she spoke softly. Mom, Dad, please stop hitting Zuan. We won't hit him, but then he'll have to hit your unborn child. Though he said that, Lin's father indeed stopped. Seeing this, Lin Shenrua calmly walked in front of Zhou Zuan. There was only a sharp slap sound. Lin Shenrua had already given him a fierce slap. Zhou Zuan clearly didn't expect why the usually gentle goddess would act like this. His face instantly darkened. Lin Shenrua, what are you doing? Lin Shenro smiled gently, her expression completely harmless. She casually rubbed her wrist and said softly, Oh, this slap is to punish you for going back on your word. Didn't we agree that you would marry me and I would give birth to the child? You want me to have an abortion. That's impossible. Either I report you right now and we both go down together, or you focus on studying hard, get into a good university, find a decent job, and support me and the child. Zhou Xian, I trusted you so much. Don't force me into a difficult position. Hearing this, I suddenly froze in place. This sentence, I've heard it before, in the alley where the three of us first met in my previous life. Zhou Xian said to me, Xingzi, I trust you so much. Don't force me into a difficult position. I think I understand something now. Perhaps Lin Shenro genuinely wanted to bring me down, but once she realized it was impossible, she could quickly let it go. After all, I was never her real target. Good and evil will be rewarded in the end. The regrets Zhou Xian had in his previous life will be fulfilled by Lin Shenro in this one. This time, they will definitely stay together, no matter what methods Lin Shenro uses. Looking at Lin Shenro's fierce-looking parents, I suddenly remembered what Lin Shenro had told me in my previous life, that if she failed her exams, her parents would marry her off to an old man even older than her father. Now, she could not only marry Zhou Xian, a man who looked decent on the surface, but also split a 500,000 dowry with her parents. Why wouldn't she be happy about it? Staring at Lin Shenro, who was smiling brightly, I suddenly began to wonder, was her cheating on the college entrance exam this time really just a coincidence? 12. Even if I felt deeply moved inside, I didn't want to pay too much attention to Zhou Xian anymore. I silently placed the fruit I had brought for Zhou's parents in a corner, then slowly exited the hospital room. The first thing I did when I got home was play the recording of my conversation with Zhou Xian for my mom. My mom is also a straightforward person. After hearing it, she immediately slammed the table and insisted on going to teach Zhou Xian a lesson. My eyes slightly red, I stopped my mom, while my dad calmly sipped his freshly brewed tea. After finishing this pot of tea, I'll go see the new house and move. Well, my dad is quite bold. 2. When I got up in the middle of the night, I passed by my parents' room. They left a crack in the door, and I heard my mom still muttering angrily under her breath. That damn Zhou Xian, actually trying to use my daughter to cheat on the college entrance exam. What a joke. We must move. We can't let our daughter have any more contact with that guy. Who knows, when he sees Z doing better than him, he'll get jealous and stir up trouble again. Hurry up and look for a house. Got it. Go to sleep. Even though the night was so dark, my future was so bright. 13. On the day the college entrance exam results were announced, I lived up to everyone's expectations and got a pretty good score. I discussed with my parents for a whole day before finalizing my college application choices without Zhou Xian around. I finally got to experience the college life I had always imagined. Friends who shared my interests, knowledgeable and kind professors, and boys who pursued me with genuine enthusiasm. In my senior year of college, when I brought my boyfriend home, I learned from my mother about some of Zhou Xian's experiences over the past few years. That year, he retook the exam, but performed poorly and only got into a regular junior college. Although neither he nor Lin Xinrua had reached the legal age for marriage, their child was still born successfully in the year Zhou Xian started college. Since Zhou Xian had to attend school, the child was left in the care of his parents, while Lin Xinrua, feeling uneasy about Zhou Xian, rented a house near his school and visited him every day to have meals together. It just so happened that once, when Lin Xinrua returned home to see the child and stayed for 2 days, Zhou Xian ended up getting involved with another girl during that time after learning about it. Lin Xin, you didn't cry or make a scene, but not long after, Zhou Xian was rushed to the hospital with blood coming from his lower body. My mom shook her head dramatically. According to your Aunt Zhang, she probably won't be able to have children for the rest of her life. Because of this incident, Zhao's parents gradually began to accept Lin Xinyu. Even though Zhou Xian looked pained and claimed that Lin Xinyu had caused him to lose his lineage, she was the daughter-in-law they had spent their life savings to acquire. Moreover, whether in front of outsiders or Zhao's parents, Lin Xinyu always acted understanding and devoted, earning praise from everyone as a wonderful mother and a good daughter-in-law. It seems everyone has forgotten about Lin Xinyu cheating on the college entrance exam. After becoming a mother and a wife, people pay more attention to her contributions to the family, but obviously, no one cares about Zhou Xian's feelings. After graduation, Zhou Xian was forced by his parents to return to his hometown. It is said that he now lives a simple and quiet life, except for his gloomy and eccentric personality and his tendency to beat his wife. But every time there was an incident, Lin Xinyu would act pitifully, making everyone condemn him. People like Lin Xinyu were hard to shake off once you got involved with them. and after her intentional or unintentional publicity, everyone in the surrounding villages knew that Zhao Xian was infertile, and they all advised him to stop causing trouble, saying that with such understanding and considerate wife, what more could he possibly want? Even though he was furious now, but for now, as a laborer, he just rushes home after work and brings all his paycheck home. After all, with Lin Xinyu around, the life he's living now is exactly what he deserves. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.